Hello there and welcome. Today I'll be doing my spread for next week. I'll be using this kit that I made. It's more of a fancy love wedding theme because I do have a wedding to go to next week, even though I did want to use a spooky one because Halloween is also going to be coming up in just a few days. But I very, very rarely attend weddings, and I figured it just made more sense this way. So I have my tea, gonna light some fuego, some candles, try and get cozy and in the mood, because for me planning is very therapeutic. It's my time to chill and just take a moment for myself. I light a different candle every single time I do one of these spreads. Just puts me in a much better mood to focus. Obviously, I am also doing a voiceover. This camera isn't very good at picking up my voice, especially since right now I have the AC on, so it would just be very, very noisy. So I thought it would be best to just record the voice over afterwards. Also, I wouldn't have to edit through just 5-minute breaks and pauses because usually it takes me about half an hour to do a spread, sometimes longer. Not because they're complicated, but just because I like taking my time and I'm pretty slow. Which is why I am just speeding along through this and moving things on a little faster than they would be in real life. So at the time of filming this particular kit will actually be older, I guess, because I made a update to my kits. They've gone through many, many, many updates over the last year. I do find that since I first started getting into planning, like as a hobby, as a serious hobby, my needs have changed throughout the last few years. The kinds of stickers that I use, which I guess I'll go ahead and get into because I've always been obsessed with planning and just organizing my day, but it wasn't until around 2020 that I actually fell into the planner community. I didn't even know such a community existed because why would it? It seems so silly. But it does. And up until that point, I had been just using random planners, which were mostly horizontal, and they just weren't really working for me. And I forgot how or when it happened exactly, but I did stumble across vertical planners, and that piqued my interest because that just made a lot more sense for me and how I do things. And at that time, it was very, very important for me to keep track of my stuff because it was around the time of Corona. I was working from home mostly by that point, and I just really needed a way to make sure that I was getting things done because I didn't want to fall into the habit of kind of just living every day exactly the same and forgetting to do things because I'm very forgetful, and it's very easy for me to just fall into bad habits. But yeah, I ended up discovering that there was this whole planner community, so I fell hard and I immediately right off the bat went and bought 3 planners. I bought a Happy Planner. It's a classic Happy Planner, and I bought, what was the other one? The Erin Condren Life Planner, as well as a Recollections one that I got for sale for like $9 at Michael's, which is a really, really good deal. And to be honest, I liked all 3 of them. I loved how different they were in terms of style. Overall, though, I did find myself gravitating more towards the Erin Condren one. I love the feel of the paper and the overall aesthetic. I mean, I think it's 3 now. I haven't purchased the Erin Condren Life Planner in like this year, so it's been a while. I used it last year, but for this year, I've been using this coiled Happy Planner. And that was also another reason why I really gravitated towards the Recollections and the Erin Condren more than the Happy Planner. I love the metal foil over the discs that the Happy Planner uses. So I think for the last 2 years, actually, after that point, uh, I was switching between the three of those, but I eventually decided to stick with Erin Condren until this last year. I wanted to try and see if there was something else, maybe something that wasn't $60. And yes, I'm aware that they have, every time I've purchased one, it has actually always been on sale. So I've usually only gotten it for like $40 to $50, but still something a little bit cheaper. And so I was at Michael's and I saw this particular planner that I am currently using, and I thought it was just really lovely. For one, it was really, really cheap, and for two, it had all this foiling on it. It's like semi-astrology, but not really themed, and it's got lots of neutral and blush themes to it, which I just love. I love those kinds of colors. So that's the one I've been using all year, and it's amazing to think that it's almost done with. Like, there's only a few pages left. We're already in November, which means I have like what, four? No, eight more. I know my numbers. 8 more weeks left. Maybe not exactly, but around that. So I have no idea what planner I want to use next year. I'm thinking that maybe I might just go back and reuse one of the old planners that I got and just using stickers over those completely to like hide the dates and stuff, because that's one of the great things about stickers. You can just cover over the dates for old planners if you haven't used them. And I have several old planners, so that would be really nice and I wouldn't have to spend any more money. But I also, I would love to get another Erin Condren. I don't know. I'm so torn on those things. And so, as far as stickers go, because that's really what got me hooked, it wasn't just the planner, it was the stickers. I don't know how or why, it just happened. If you happen to be watching this, obviously you must be a sticker lover as well. It's something that I can't explain. I don't know why we're into this kind of thing, just cutesy, sticky, organized things, but it is what it is. So at the time when I was first getting into like the hardcore planning stuff, I didn't have a whole bunch of money because I was working from home at that point, which means that my hours were actually cut shorter because I was working in a school setting. So the first thing that they did when Corona started coming over was the kids had to stay at home and do their learning that way. And I was not a teacher, so I was not needed in any major capacity when it came to that. So I had a lot of free time. I had to figure out what I was going to do on my own time. I needed a way to save money as well. So I invested into making my own stickers because I thought that would be a fun little hobby for me to do. And originally I actually started out with a Cricut machine. Mostly for the aesthetic because it was pink and cute. And to be honest, I was also really into making more cutesy kawaii stickers. So it just made the most sense. And it did work for me at the time. However, when it came to making more complicated designs, like just like this, like all the boxes, all the little details and stuff, the Cricut just wasn't good for that. I wish I had realized that sooner because I actually have two Cricuts, a pink one and a blue one, a baby blue one, because those are my favorite, top two favorite colors. Well, after white. White is actually my first favorite. But yeah, besides the point, Cricut was just, it's not good for the ultimate detailed stuff. If you're doing like die cuts or simple kiss cut stickers, it's perfectly fine. It's perfect for that. It was also much easier to use. As far as software goes, it's just a very easy beginner tool. But whenever I would try to do more complicated things like monthly planners, at the bottom of the page, it would start to cut off. It was like off cutting. Um, and for the longest time, I thought that it was me and I was the problem. So I went over several things like, is it my printer? Is my printer printing things crookedly on the paper? Is there not enough ink? Is there something wrong with the lighting? Is it just not registering, or is it picking up the lines weird? Is it too dim? Is it too bright in the room? Is it my computer? Eventually, what I learned, what it seemed to be, was that it was the software itself. I don't know what it was, but when I used it on my Mac, which was I was primarily using it on my laptop, that was the issue. For some reason, it just, mm-mm. And then I switched over to printing and cutting on my primary desktop, which is the Windows, and it was better at that point. But then it started going crooked again, so I don't know. Basically, I just have a long, complicated beginning thing with that. But I do love my Cricuts. I do still use them, although less for die cuts primarily. But at some point, because since I was making stickers for myself, and that was always the goal, just to do it for myself, I did decide, let's go ahead and sell some cute stuff on the side just because I can. And I was able to earn enough to get myself a silhouette portrait. I got the little tiny one. And that was finicky. That took me like I couldn't even get it to work at first. But once I finally did, once I took the time and the effort, because they're all just, I thought I was doing everything wrong and I looked so hard into it. And there was the one thing that I had to do is what fixed the problem, because it just wasn't registering and I was doing everything correctly. I had to turn the mat upside down. Like, if you've used one, you know there's an arrow on the mat that points on where you're supposed to insert it. For some reason, that didn't work on mine, and I had to go upside down and insert it like backwards. It's not fun. But once I finally got it to work, oh my God, it was the biggest life change ever. And so at that point, I was like, all right, we're back into making planner stickers. And I want to say that was maybe like a year ago, a little over a year ago, a year and a half ago. It was last summer, right? About that time. And yeah, so I started changing things. And within this last year, as time has gone on, things have progressed and my style has changed. And that's pretty much what I do. The truth is that I make the stickers for me and I sell those. Like the designs, everything, they're for me. I didn't plan to open up a shop to make a lot of money. I just did it because, well, since I have this and I have this much stuff, I might as well. So it's just an added bonus that allows me to continue doing my own hobby pretty much. It's an excuse for me to obsess about my own stuff that I love so much. And as a gift, my partner has been very supportive of my sticker craze. He got me the Silhouette Cameo in pink because he knows that's my favorite color. And at that point, that's when I was like, okay, I don't have to be afraid of making things a certain way, because that was something I did. I guess you could say I had like PTSD after working with Cricut and just having this fear of not making things so complicated, not having stickers so close together, just constantly worried about just, there part of me just always felt that I was going to have imperfect cuts. Like my stuff wasn't ever going to be good enough. But I eventually moved on with the Cameo. It just really helped me move forward with that stress and just really trust in the machine to do what it needs to do. And so I think I'm finally at a point where I'm making sticker kits that I'm actually happy with. And for a long time, I thought I knew what I wanted in my kits. So over time, things have progressed, things have changed around, certain boxes, and even finally now they're changing yet again. I've realized what I want, what I use, what I don't use, and that's one of the things that really got me the most, I think, because a lot of the times I would have like 1 page, 2 pages left over from my kits, so I tried to shorten that down, and then I would try to shorten it down again. With this, the upcoming kits that I'm making currently, which I guess I'll go ahead and I'll make a video at some point comparing the two, just because there is a very minor difference, because it's pretty similar to this one here. But I did get rid of some things like the text. I have the little text bars like that say meals, reminders, important, stuff like that. I did get rid of those, and there's also more of a less focus on boxes, because for the longest time I was obsessed with like the boxes, like the medium-sized, half-sized boxes. Like when I go back and I look at my kits, everything is boxed, everything is in a box or in a checklist. And over time, I just realized they take up a lot of space. I like things that are more natural now, more flowy, almost more journal-like. I think that makes it's just more aesthetically pleasing to my eye, although I still love the box look as well. But I think, yeah, my style is definitely just slowly evolving, and I feel a little bit more limited and more like I have to be careful when I just do the boxes and stuff, because when I make my kits, obviously I'm pre-making everything for the week, because by this point, after doing this for so long, I have a general idea of what my day is going to look like. So it's okay for me to like map out how much stuff I have like on certain days. Some days I'll make sure that I have more options to put in. Some days I make sure that I have less. So it really just depends. Like right here, I already know that on this Thursday, I'm going to have like several things to do in the morning, which is why I have the checklist up there. And what I realized after months and months of doing things how I had been doing them is that I don't actually need as many checklists as I was printing out on my kits. I don't use them that much because I had an excessive amount of them. Checklists alongside check boxes, and I was just sick of wasting all this paper. So I really did try to condense things. Finally, I am now down to 4 pages of all the essentials. And I've pretty much got everything. Like with this one that I'm making right now, there's just a few stickers left over. Most of them are the words, the important notes, the word text boxes. So with this upcoming kit that I'm currently making, it is going to be just less. There should be more room being saved, or less waste. In addition to that, my items are now foiled, which I'm so happy about, because that was a whole other process. There were just lots of issues, and I wasn't able to do it until now. There are still minor issues right now, but I'm learning to work with the problem, since it's really not necessarily fixable. I went through 2 different laser printers to finally get to where I am now. I'll talk about that another time, since this is already going to be done. I will note at this point, looking back on this particular spread, it's definitely not perfect. There's some little things that I definitely would change if I were to redo this, but I could say the same for every single spread. Um, Everything, I'm always making boo-boos every spread, but for this one, I think it turned out pretty okay overall. Very sparkly, very lovely. I think it's going to be very fitting for this upcoming week. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you happen to still be watching this or listening along, thank you so much. I do hope to continue this and continue on into filming my next upcoming spreads, but we'll see. Till then, please take care.